There's auto captioning on our YouTube channel, City of PCB. So just check out that YouTube channel. If you're hearing impaired, we have hearing assistance devices in the back. We will start in 1 minute. Okay. We will call this meeting to order. Ms. White, please call roll.
Councilmember Coburn? Here. Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Today's invocation is led by Pastor Raymond Duvall from the Beachside Fellowship Church. Would you please stand?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Father, we're so grateful that you love us. We remember that during this Christmas season that you became flesh, your word became flesh and came to live among us, and we're grateful for that. We thank you that the Prince of Peace is with us today. Father, I pray for our city, for every individual that lives here, Lord, that you would bless them and strengthen them. We thank you for bringing us through a challenging year economically, and that you've laid out an amazing and wonderful future before us. Lord, I pray for every member of the council and the mayor, Lord, that you would give them wisdom and strength, that even as they lead us and as they deliberate, that they would hear directly from you what is best for our community. Father, I pray for the city staff. Lord, strengthen them. Give them grace and favor. Bless their families, for all of our first responders and every city department, Lord God, for police and firefighters and EMT. May this time, Lord God, this season be one of blessing and grace and peace for all. Father, I thank you that you are here with us today, and that everything we say and do will give you glory and honor. Guide us and direct us in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Councilmember Coburn.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now for the community announcements. On December 13th, from 6 to 9, is Christmas with the Cops at the Police Department City Hall campus. December 14th, there's the Girls on the Run celebratory 5K at Gales Trails. December 14th, from 4:30 to 5:30, there's the Optimist Club of the Beaches Christmas Parade at South Pier Park Drive. If you haven't gotten your Christmas presents yet, on the 21st of December is the Last Minute Market at Aaron Besant Park. City offices will be closed December 24th and 25th for the Christmas holiday. December 31st is the New Year's Eve Beach Ball 5K Fun Run at Gales Trails. Also, December 31st is New Year's Eve Beach Ball Drop at Pier Park. City offices will be closed on the 31st and January 1st for the New Year's holiday. And our next City Council meeting is in the new year, January 9th, here at City Hall. Okay. Now we're going to approve the minutes. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
Ms. White.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Now on to the approval of the agenda and additions or deletions. We have Water Department and Public Works here for recognition for all the work they did on the water disruption. So we'd like to add that to the presentations first off. And speaking of the water disruption, I think it makes sense to have a discussion item first on the agenda.
Okay. Motion to approve as amended. Second.
All right, Ms. White?
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. All right, so, as we just alluded to, Mr. Schaefer, would you please come up?
Thank you very much.
Mic right there.
Sorry.
No. Good. All right, my name is Mark Schaefer. I'm the Utilities Director for the City of Panama City Beach. I'm a licensed professional engineer. I have been licensed and practicing in the state of Florida for 35 years. 26 of those years were in the private sector as a consultant. I worked with utilities from Bradenton all the way to Pensacola. The last 9 years of my career, I've been here at the city. First 5 years as a Assistant City Utilities Director, and the most recent 4 years as Utilities Director. The only reason I say that is just to kind of establish my credentials. I have been in the industry a long time, and I know greatness when I see it. We had, last Thursday, we're a utility, just like Gulf Power, or excuse me, FPL. We provide a service. It's a much-needed service. People are used to going into the restroom and hitting the light switch, the light comes on, turn that faucet, the water comes out. Happens so often that it just becomes expected. Like FPL, we're subject to accidents that happen. FPL had a truck careen into a power pole on Wildwood last week. Took out power for a number of people. Last Thursday, as part of the widening program for Back Beach Road, a contractor was installing a replacement water main further out away from the edge of pavement so they could widen the road and install the stormwater system. That fellow that operating the drill rig probably did not plan on getting up that morning and striking our line, but it was hit. So the response was immediate. We had all hands on deck, and these are just a representation of the number of people that are there to respond. You'll have people here from Public Works because they're involved. You have customer service representatives because they're our first line of contact when there's an issue. They take your calls and they help assist you. So these people are all part of an organization that responds to those type of issues. That line strike was repaired. We made a temporary repair. We brought in a specialty contractor to install a valve to limit the amount of main that needed to be isolated, and we're currently under a precautionary boil water notice. Then there was a second punch. That landed on Monday night. We had a 24-inch main, which is about the size of a car tire in diameter. About 7:30, I received that call, and it is kind of a utilities director's worst nightmare. So immediately went out there. My whole crew was there. We worked through the night to get the line isolated. By mid-morning, we had it dewatered, and we started on the repair. Some of the guys in this underground group in particular are fairly new. Some guys have been here a month. But you could see, what I saw was people responding to a community need. We've done it before on West Bay. We had a fitting that leaked when I first started here, and when Mr. Short was utilities director, and we hired an outside contractor, and that went well. But it took a little time. We had to have an emergency council meeting and get authorization. We had the resources, we had the people, and we needed the water restored immediately. These gentlemen and ladies stepped up. I cannot tell you enough. I've worked with private contractors for 40 years almost in my career. The amount of care that the people put into what they did, the amount of dedication they had was just unbelievable. I mean, there was just something more. I mean, there was so much heart involved. They looked out for each other. They observed all the safety protocols. Very much pride in getting the work done and getting people's water service restored immediately. So I don't know what else to say. I stayed up all night trying to think, what can I say that would somehow justify what these guys did and these ladies did for the community. And it just can't, the words don't seem to be enough. Guys, I'm just so proud of you. It's an honor to be associated with you and to work with you. And I am so proud of you. Thank you very much for a job well done. Council, if I could I have 3 minutes like most people have when they do the public comment section? I would just like to speak a little bit about some of my observations about the community's response to this, to the second event.
Sure.
Okay, if you want, you can start the timer.
I've seen you work on the clock. You're fine.
Oh, I should add, and I meant to add, I was out there when the line strike started that evening. I didn't sleep for 41 hours. That's a personal best for me, but there are individuals here that were here longer than that, some of them 48 hours. I can tell you that none of us got showers because I was out there with them. So the people that were that water, we didn't get to use water either. We were focused on getting that line back in service because we knew how badly it was needed. I started getting calls from the Navy base at first. They're concerned about maintaining their mission, keeping their troops and their resources, functional and taken care of. I took calls from the superintendent of schools. I can tell you that the superintendent of schools was very concerned about taking care of our kids, their safety and their welfare, and making sure we had fire protection flows. They made some tough calls about school closures. I know that was inconvenient. We got calls from the county commission. I got calls from my counterpart in the utilities in Bay County, all of them expressing support. I just was so very touched. The city leadership was out there regularly. The city manager, assistant city manager, it was never, what's going on, it was never any of that. What do you need? What can I do to help you? There was no limitation on resources. I was given free rein to do everything I could to get that water service restored. The line break came in on the second one the call came in on my phone about 7:40, and roughly 24 hours later, it was 7:30 or so. We were tightening up the bolts on the replacement section and getting ready to go to start the McKelvey pump station again. It just was amazing. The community over there, the understanding from our customers, I just cannot express enough my gratitude in their patience. There was homeowners right there at Laird and Laurie, very understanding. They would come out, they would bring our guys food. Everybody was very supportive. Bay County just amazed me. I mean, this community just really comes together. It just touched me very, very deeply. I'm sorry, I'm not a great public speaker. I'm an engineer, and I'm not used to having to speak. And utilities directors hate to be in the focus. So I just want you to realize that this community has just unbelievable support for one another and just citizenship and love and consideration. Our public information officer, our business unit manager helped get the information out to people. The media, thank you so much for helping us inform. We should have results on the precautionary boil water notice testing later this morning, and we'll share those as soon as they're available. But again, thank you, Bay County, for your support and understanding. These things just happen.
All right, Mr. Schaefer, your 3 minutes is up. Okay. Guys,
Good job.
thank you so much. Good job. Next up, the half-cent sales tax oversight committee findings by the chairman, Biaggi.
I will wait till everybody gets out of here.
Well, y'all can spread out a little bit now. All right, Chairman.
All righty, thank you, Mr. Mayor and board members. I am the chairman of the half-cent sales tax Citizens Oversight Committee, which was on November 12th. We had our meeting on 2024, and the committee has reviewed the schedule of surtax proceeds collected by the city from October 2023 through September 2024 in the amount of $2,553,736.73. and ascertained that the monies paid out from October 2023 through September 2024 in the amount of $339,076.35 for the street resurfacing project as authorized by resolution number 23-155 were used solely for the purpose stated in paragraph 1 of resolution number 17-39. Just a little brief of the oversight committee. We don't really have any authority on doing what we do as far as with the committee. We oversee what the board members do and what the city council does. And we just basically give our approval that showed that the money went where it was supposed to go. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask any questions.
Any question? Oh, thank you for your work. It's, it's always.
And we don't do much. We, only meet a couple times a year, but at least we got some citizen oversight that's keeping a watch on everybody.
Well, it's important to find people to serve, and we really appreciate your service to us.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next up, the Employee Service of the Year's Awards. Councilmember Colbert's today's spokesperson.
I just have Sean Ramsey come up, please. Good morning, It's always wonderful to recognize our employees, and Sean has been with the fire department for 10 years, and he's currently serving as a captain and oversees our paramedic program, which is very important. And as if that wasn't enough, on his days off, he's also a flight medic. So this gentleman stays very busy working for our community in several capacities. So thank you very much for your service, your dedicated service and commitment to the city of Panama City Beach for the past 10 years. I'll hand you that. And Chief, did you want to say any remarks?
Yeah, I would just like to thank you personally for the dedication that not only did you give to our department, but this community as a whole. Sean's career has been rapid with us over the last 10 years, very aggressive, finally, promoted through lieutenant, and now the captain. The future is bright as you can imagine it would be, and you have no better person on the front line to take care of it. Thank you.
Okay. Next is public comment on the consent and non-agenda business. Since we have the water disruption on the agenda, please wait for that agenda item to make comments on that. Please come up, state your name, address myself as the chairman or the city council as a whole, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Alrighty, thank you, everybody. Hope it's not too early to say, but Merry Christmas to you and your families. We probably won't see you. I think this is the last meeting of the month for the calendar year. So, my name is Anthony Angelo. I'm 13101 Edna Street, and as you may or may not know, spoke at the last meeting. I'm here to report on our community meeting that we had with residents of Bahama Beach and Oleander residents. So, if we could simply agree to, limited parking spots on Oleander on the north side, which we've talked about and seen some drawings on, and keeping the current parking conditions, at the city-owned accesses that we have, we'd probably be able to close this book and be done with it. I think that's the majority of our thoughts on that. But it appears it's not going to be that simple, so we have taken some of the direction of the council from the last month's meeting that we put it together, an effort to reach out to Oleander residents and Bahama Beach residents and have them meet together. So we've made that effort to as many as we could between the time of the last meeting and the meeting that we held on the 7th. And we had a couple of Oleander residents in attendance. As Mr. Register can attest, this meeting was largely solutions-oriented. It was amicable. We talked about being productive and what we could come up with. And this is how this group that we have that's been meeting and talking wants to work with the city. Just personally, I think some of the way that the council has been treated and talked to is just it's disappointing, and I'd like to see that end. This group, we're not going to operate that way. We chose to be inclusive when we had the meeting and take the advice, and we want to hear all options, concerns, and opinions. We can't force residents to show up to the meetings and work together with us and share their concerns. We can only try and invite them, and we've done so. And we're going to continue to do that. So we can put the ball in their court. At the meeting on the 7th, all the residents there agreed to trying again if we couldn't get what we know we want, which is parking down there, quickly, or have it agreed to in some way today or something. We've agreed to meet again. We agreed to have a formal notice, and we'd like some support by the city in advertising that, do some sort of a design charrette we talked about. And at the request of the out-of-town residents, and specifically in consideration of Oleander, we'd like to have that meeting have a video option for call-in for people that can't make it in person. And I'm going to just end with this. I think now is the time for us to be doing what we're doing. Now is the best time for us to be having these discussions, because we obviously have an issue today, but we're going to have an issue in the future. 5-10 years from now, Panama City Beach is not going to look the same. So please consider that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Angelo.
Good morning, Alfredo Martin, 13407 Oleander Drive. I want to clarify something for the record. It is very important. Yes, Mr. Anthony called a meeting on December 7th at 11 a.m. The problem is this, and you're talking about all inclusiveness and including everything. Look, I'm a peasant from South America, came across the border, got my papers. I know what to be inclusive. I respect everybody, but if you're going to have a meeting, is one condition. You don't call somebody and say, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to have a meeting Monday at 3 a.m., okay? What you do is you call Mr. Mayor or the council people, say, look, we are planning to have a meeting on December 7th at 11 a.m. Do you think that's a good date? Mr. Anthony called me to be in the meeting. But look, Saturday, if anybody knows what Saturday on Oleander Drive is, it's impossible. Second, I was in Los Angeles, I was in New Orleans, I have a lot of events. So what I would suggest to Mr. Anthony is if they want to have a meeting, consult, agree on time and a place, and let the other people decide. It's not a one-way street, okay? And I think the meeting, I don't know about the meeting because I wasn't there, but I was not able to go because I was not given the option of decide on the date and the time. So Mr. Anthony, with all due respect, please consult and agree. And after that, since the last meeting, I didn't see any golf cart parking on Oleander or on the places that are assigned. This seems to me that is more a thing of the summer. So if you want consensus, make sure you ask, okay? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
My name is Captain Gary Wayne Beck. I live at 2601 Beach Street.
Who's related to the judge that gets the property and splits up the loot, And then let's don't, since you've been elected, has got to watch you put yourself on your little pedestal where you think that you're so all high and mighty that you don't have to answer the questions to we the people. You didn't answer those questions. Drew answered those questions. And what is that? That's you passing them up to somebody else so you're not liable. You think if you can spread it out amongst enough people, you can get by with your crimes. What are your crimes? Strong-armed extortion, using
taking people's properties.
Property taxes, strong-armed extortion.
Taking pictures of people's windows. inside of people's windows.
Who's married to the sheriff's officer, who's related to the judge that gets the property and splits up the loot. You know?
I've got it where they're taking people's tools and selling it on the other side of town. Tools that they took off of people's property.
Taking pictures inside my bedroom window.
Yeah, that's me.
Over my privacy
That's when they took my old school inventions and energy inventions.
That's within our county, you know, that comes directly.
Everybody's in on it because all y'all talking about it. Until it comes down to talking to the people.
You're so elite. You're so elite. You're so elite. You've not even carried on a conversation with me.
Hey, Mr. Beck,
Idiot.
please stay at the podium and address us.
Last time I was here, I called the sheriff's department trying
Mr.
to
Beck.
Respect.
from the criminal
Huh?
acts that
What do you deserve
still
respect
against
for?
me. And what
All you've done is turn a blind eye to everything the people says. We got old Barney Thompson back there. He gets to run his mouth on the radio about it.
Mr. Beck,
What?
address us.
All right, I'm addressing you. You're a disgrace.
You stole my energy inventions. You belittled my name. You freaking used the media back there
Oh,
to
Barney.
carry out every damn lie
Sir?
against me. You and Brian Russ and Barney Thompson and all
Truth
those
hurts,
people
don't it,
that
bud?
carry out your will. You know,
You can tell you work with Biden administration, preying on children. We got the old gender bender over there.
I've said it before, you know, and let's don't forget what they're doing in the 14th Judicial, how they allow.
That affects every person in Bay County. When a judge sits down and don't let you get the ability to take and present evidence in your defense, that affects every person in this
Sir,
town.
we're
And you
really
found it from
having
the
trouble.
start.
If you're going to talk or play something, we can't understand you with your thing playing and you talking.
Go figure. You know, go figure. And what, you know, you think I'm going to give up? I'm talking about the Constitution and Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is what our forefathers fought and died for.
Every dang last one of them. What have y'all done? Disgraced our country. How bad?
Pretend that you're above the Constitution and Bill of Rights, which is a very bad thing to do. I've had to endure and endure and endure because
of
your
lies.
media back there, and because of the lies and your stupidity and thinking that you're above the people because you're so elite.
Upper echelons of high
We wanted you to do, and
We
what
don't
have you
have to
done?
listen
Have
to
you
the
been able to
people.
get us in touch, me in touch with the sheriff? No.
We're talking about what? Felonies against children.
Thank you, Mr. Beck.
Idiots, all of you, paying a blind eye.
Mr. Beck, please shut off your recording.
This has been accomplished for how long? The whole world's seen it.
Mr. Beck, shut off your recording.
Hello, I'm Bernie Thompson, and God bless the freedom of speech, and I mean that sincerely. I support Mr. Beck's right, even if it's performative and uncomfortable. I wanted to thank you, Mayor, actually, for your live stream, just informing the public before there was a resolution with the water break. People appreciated the progress. Thank you. I have a quick public record request, and then I want to talk about something going on at Low Water, please. The public record request is, whatever day the water line was broken, I don't know who the contractor was who broke it. I'm not going to ask you now. But that name of the contractor is the search term, please. Could I get any and all emails, digital copies, from that day with that search term of the contractor? The reason I'm here today is because Low Water Lake residents experienced something unusual. They found a bunch of yellow crime tape nailed to their private property seawalls, and the yellow, it wasn't yellow, I'm sorry, it was pink. And it said, wetlands delineation marker. And it had marking writings on it. And nobody knew what it was, right? Wetland delineation markers. This is pink tape. So I had emailed the city manager, and he got back with me. Thank you, Drew. And the answer was the city didn't know what this was about. And the answer I've been told is that DEP had no clue what this was about. But I did get the memo from the city manager that was sort of an explanation, but it was so vague, it wasn't an explanation at all. In this letter from Gemini Engineers and Science, there was a whole bunch of stuff in there that I didn't find very helpful. But that was the only information that the city had. I would think that everybody would be deeply concerned that somebody is going on people's property and putting these markers here. Now, this is what I would really like to direct your attention to. There was a federal lawsuit, and a federal judge in February of this year, he issued an opinion that said only the federal government, this falls under the Wetlands Water Act or something, only the federal government has the authority to issue permits regarding these delineations. In this memo I received, it said that the state could also authorize that authority. That has been revoked since February. This reminds me a lot of the time that I saw in low water a hose pumping water out of the lake, and nobody knew what that was about. It turned out it was GAC contractors. Please look into what's going on, make sure the residents know, and follow the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Further public comment?
Hi, Molly Allen, 16211 East Lowwater Lake. As Bernie stated, on Tuesday, December 10th, there were some markers that the Lowwater residents saw. There was no notice given to us, and it is my understanding that we have riparian rights. That's been told to us on many occasions. On Tuesday, December 10th, my husband came to me and said, "Did you see the pink marker out by our dock?" And I said, "No." So we went out there and we looked at it, and it said delineated wetland. And, you know, many of you know where my property is. You understand it is close to a wetland. I even have a high tide watermark in my yard, which I have recognized. And so I would not be surprised that my yard could potentially be marked as a wetland or something near my yard. However, when we peered across the lake to Lakeside Drive, I think it is, or Lake Drive anyway, across the lake attached to one of my neighbor's seawall, attached to the seawall, the lake wall, was another pink tag. And as I peered over, more and more tags. So I got my canoe and I went around, and from the public boat ramp, which is marked LL-1, each property has a marker, and it goes around, and I'm LL-13. It goes around to the point which I don't know the people whose homes it is now. It used to be owned by Barbara Rosser, but it's the point there. So it's a direct line of our leg of the lake. So my question is, first, is this federal, is it state, or is it both? Was the notification of request to the residents for access to their private property given? I'd like to see a document of the request with signatures. I'd like to see the document that authorizes this action with signatures. I'd like to see the document tracker of each property that is numbered uniquely. I'd like to see that ledger and what those numbers indicate, other than just a graduated peripheral around the lake. I'd also like to make sure that these documentations should include the project number and specific contract to which this action taken is being made or executed. I'd like to remind everybody that the water was tested by Gemini during the drawdown of Lowwater Lake, which in the hottest summer months, and so that definitely can skew, I think, the results of what is a wetland and what is not a wetland. I would like to say that I used to see the sandy bottom at all points on the lake. I'd like to see that again one day. And as always, I'm here to protest the outfall project. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Further public comment on consent and non-agenda items?
Good morning, Salvatore Morelli, 526 Camilla Street. Merry Christmas to you all. Have a great holiday. I'm going to continue on with the Orianda parking. Anthony had reached out to as many people as possible, from what I understood as well. I mean, I was notified, a few other people. There were people from Orianda that were there. And so we attempted to go ahead and get this thing worked out to where we can possibly have parking on Orianda on the north side. I won't say what the other party said in regards to not seeing any real issue with it if there was rainwater or runoff resolutions on that street, because that was a concern. Now, my questioning is, how does this process continue on? Now, do you all have the final word as far as whether we get parking on Orianda or not in regards to the engineering design, and then whether we have the approval of the city council? Is that how it works?
Yes, we will make the final decision.
I'm sorry?
Yes, we're going to make the final decision.
all make the
But
final
continue
decision?
your comment, and we'll address all the comments
Okay,
after the comment
I'm sorry.
period.
Okay, and so I was just trying to figure out how it worked. So with that, hopefully you guys can see the fact that we really would like, well, you know, people keep saying you can drive here and then park up there and then come back down. And, you know, when you bring your grandkids or you have a family member who is physically challenged down to the beach, I mean, you can't just drop them off at the entrance to the beach and then drive up to the top of the hill and drive back down. I mean, it's convenience, safety, and it's for the community of Bahama Beach, for us to be able to go down and enjoy the beach that we all want to enjoy. And so, I mean, to have us have to park all the way up on the hill for, I mean, we may even get the parking there. We don't even know if that's a factor, getting that type of parking. It's an idea that was brought up, and so we don't even know where we stand as far as where parking is going to be, where it's not going to be, and how we're going to be able to have our golf carts down there as we presently do, even though it's somewhat limited in some locations. And that's all I can really come up with, other than trying to figure out how the process is going to continue from here. I mean, like I said, Anthony did reach out as far as he can go. And if we could possibly have some assistance again from the city council in regards to residents in the area who may want to attend and be informed about the process we're trying to get accomplished here. Again, thank you so much and have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you, Mrs. Salvatore. Further public comment?
Janice Hatcher. My question is, with the CRAs, who provides the money for the CRA? I believe that would be Front Beach Road. I wouldn't think that would be any of Bahama Beach nor Bidawee Beach. I remember specifically talking with different people about where the line was cut, and the way the line is cut, none of these people contributed to any of the money. The CRA money was used to build up and beautify the beach for tourism. It was not built to provide something for the people of Bidawee or Bahama Beach and their golf cart parking. We all know that when golf carts come together, and your plan initially was like have up to 720 people up at the top, and then have some additional parking over at Nick's Pizza, and they'll come across the road. We all know that when you turn loose that many people on one street, such as Oleander, you're going to overrun that beach. You all know it. It's a fact. You wouldn't want it to happen to you. I don't want it to happen to me. I spent a lot of money on my property. It's my business. I start to have a wedding. They all come out with the tents, you know, line up the tents and hook them together. And the drinking, it's just crazy out there. I've videotaped it. I've shown Drew. I've shown everybody I know here. I didn't send it to you, Stuart, but I sent it to other people I felt like they would do something. I'm really tired of you meeting behind the board's back with all these people encouraging this type of behavior on. If you want to do something, do it with what you own. It's my understanding that there is land down in front of Casaloma. Am I right or wrong? You can answer that. Why don't you use your land, park those people down there and turn them on that beach right there in front of them where you own land? Don't try.
Hey, sir. Sir, hey, sir.
Okay, give me back my time for his rude interruption. The land belongs to the city, and it was bought by the people. And that land should be used at this time for parking or whatever needs to be done to help alleviate this problem or get more of them on there. The answer to the question is not how many can you put up on top of Oleander. You know you can't park down on the street on Oleander. Before you came here, Stuart, this young man here to my left, he knows we couldn't get a fire truck down there. Bernie Thompson knows about this. We just all raised saying about park on, oh, you can't do that. So there's nobody here except for maybe you're a new one here. But the rest of them know what we've gone through. You cannot pull a fire truck down on Oleander with these people parking down on there. Have you ever seen a golf cart? You should take your time and see a golf cart or a motorcycle or a scooter perhaps go up the hill. They gas it, they push down the...
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Your time is up.
No, he took my time,
Yes, you had additional time for that.
but it's not on there.
It was on there. sir. Sir?
You gonna throw him out? He was laughing.
Ma'am?
Is he a friend of
Ma'am, your
yours?
time is up.
Are you gonna throw him out?
Ma'am,
Tell
your
him
time
when
is
you're
up.
gonna throw him out.
Ma'am, please sit
Maybe.
down.
Bernie can send him up a little notice on back. Yeah. Had to be thrown out.
Good morning. My name is Chuck Mulebach. I live in Panama City Beach.
Please be quiet in the galley. Sir?
Claim that time, please. Anyway,
Sir?
our community in Bahama Beach is a lot larger, and I ran petitions through the whole neighborhood, me and another gentleman. Not one person said no to signing that petition for parking on Oleander. Not one. So think about that. Every signature is a vote. Do what you want with that. So we all pay our taxes. The beaches are public. We mean to keep them that way. And if somebody tries to put a hotel permit on a house, that's just doing a loophole and screwing the people from Bahama Beach. Because then they're gonna say, this is our private beach. This is what happened in Walton County. We don't want that here. We're not Walton County. And we don't need to be Destin, that's for damn sure. So what we need, there's space on the north side of that street on Oleander. And if you redo it, like you plan on doing, you need another wall. We're not asking for it to be paved. It'll drain through rock. All you have to do is put the drainage underneath, let it drain through the rock, and leave it open for people who live in the community and can enjoy the beach. And the next step is to close all the accesses. You can hear her. She wants to put, not her, excuse me.
Sir.
They want to put everything into Access 50. That's insane. Because I'm pretty sure Bidoui's going to be coming down there. They're going to lose their parking too, I believe. But yeah, we'd like to follow up on this. And I did ask the Honorable Mr. Register at the meeting the other day, and he says he has no say in what happens on this parking. No say? If that's the case, I don't feel he's representing us in our community, and I ask for his resignation. And we'll put somebody else that'll do the job. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comment? All right, Mr. Whitman, could you please address the items you can address?
Yes, sir. I'm going to try to bunch some of these together with Anthony, Elfie, Chuck, and Ms. Hatcher. We will have a public meeting when we get closer with design. We always do that with the CRA. I've been given direction by the dais about 3 meetings ago to continue with the process. So that's what I'm continuing to do, so I won't answer any other questions on that. The only one I will answer is Ms. Hatcher brought up who pays the taxes for the CRA. There's a map on the website that has the CRA district in there, so anyone can look at who's inside the CRA and pays the extra taxes on that. But my clear direction about 3 or 4 meetings ago was to march forward with the CR plans, look at the parking as we go there, and then I'll bring recommendations later. But you guys have the final say on what we do with the CRA. That's out of my hands and staff's hands. We just bring the best possible solution we have for you. As far as Mr. Thompson and Molly, with the wetlands, Molly and Bernie did bring that up to me yesterday. I forwarded you a copy of the memo. I reached out to the engineer that's overseeing that project. That is part of the low water cleanout. They're out there designing, marking the locations to see the best way to clean that lake up. I was unaware that they were on people's personal property, so we will look into that. When I've talked to Molly, she didn't mention that, so I would have had an answer for that if I knew they were on private property. I thought they were just markers in the water. But I will get the engineer to come up with I'll look at her questions and we'll provide her answers to the 4 or 5 questions she had. And I believe that is it.
Okay, I want to address the Oleander issue. This council has addressed this half a dozen times now. We've all agreed that we will keep parking at the beach accesses, and we will be using the space for stormwater mitigation for an additional parking lot at Nick's. So we have what we already have right now, which is the parking, and we're adding, at the beach accesses, and we're adding new parking at Nick's. We keep discussing this over and over again. I feel like we're going in circles. You got what you have, and we're getting more. We've been through it. We had some options. We had a public discussion. We've had repeated public discussions about the potential for the north side parking. It's too disruptive to the neighborhood. So we can meet, we can talk, but I only want one more. If you're going to have a public meeting, one more public meeting. I don't want this thing to drag out forever. Have a discussion, see what the options are available, bring back to us proposal, and we will go from there. Doing this in terms of back and forth public comments is not productive. I really appreciate Mr. Angelo for starting it. I see there's some efforts to try and make sure the public meeting is accessible in terms of scheduling. I'm sure he'll take that back, but one more and that's it. We don't have to leave this thing like an open wound over and over again. We have parking at the beach accesses, we're adding additional parking at Nick's. If you guys can have a discussion with Bahama Beach and the broader community, which includes Oleander, and come back to us with some proposals, and then we're going to discuss it, and that's it.
Thank you.
Okay? Okay.
One other thing, with Mr. Thompson's request, I want to make sure we clarify, he had a public records request for a break with a contractor. My understanding is there's two totally different breaks, correct? And I want to make sure that he understood that wasn't the one that affected Thomas Drive, that was the major repair. I know some businesses right near Culver's and Chick-fil-A area, the beach. I want to make sure we're clear that there was two separate instances there, and we're getting him the right information. I think the other one broke, I don't know if it was a heavy truck went over it or what caused the other break, but I don't think a contractor hit the one on Laird and Lori, correct?
Correct, that's not, the one the contractor hit was the one on Back Beach Road.
Okay, I just want to make sure we clarify that, and because I think in this comment, maybe there was, and maybe I heard it wrong, but I want to make sure that we clarify which one he was talking about, and that the contractor hit the one on the widening project that was fixed rather expeditiously and really, really quickly, so.
Okay. Next up is the consent agenda. You ready for this, Ms. White?
Good luck.
All right, we have 18 items on the consent agenda this morning. Item number.
Oh, I'm sorry, Holly, before that. I'm happy to speak with anyone about this. Everyone has my phone number. My city cell phone is public for the Oleander stuff. But you guys need to decide. Thank you, Ms. White.
Item number 1 on the consent agenda, resolution number 2526, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, authorizing the purchases of computers, monitors, and other related equipment from Computers at Work, Inc., doing business as VTechio, in the total amount of $104,657.28, and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Florida Department of Management Services contract governing those purchases. Item number 2, resolution number 2527, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of one 50-foot Skyrun zip track and one dune buggy spring rider for the Parks and Recreation Department from Playcore, Wisconsin, Inc., doing business as Game Time, in the total amount of $32,395.76, and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the City of Charlotte, North Carolina's contract governing that purchase. Item number 3, resolution number 2528, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Circle P Enterprises, LLC, doing business as Legendary Lawn Maintenance for mowing and landscape maintenance on city properties in the amount set forth in the body of the resolution. Item number 4, resolution number 2529, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an exclusive beverage and vending pouring rights agreement with Buffalo Rock Company, granting certain non-alcoholic beverage and pouring rights on city property valued at $66,739.78 per year. Resolution number 2530, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Bay City Builders, Inc. for the construction of a pole barn for the police department in the total amount of $74,052.00. Resolution number 2531, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving and ratifying grant agreements with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for the drone replacement program. Resolution number 2532, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of rights-of-way from Sterling Reef Owners Association, Inc., in the total amount of $108,863.50. Resolution number 2533, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of right-of-way from 12,000 Front Beach Road, LLC, in the total amount of $292,517.90. Resolution number 2534, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of right-of-way from Pendleton Clara Property, LLC, Richie Clara Property, LLC, and McAlpin Front Beach Road, LLC, McAlpin Front Beach, LLC, in the total amount of $83,560. Resolution number 2535, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving agreement with Smyrna Ready Mix Concrete, LLC, doing business as SRM Concrete for the purchase of bulk concrete and authorizing purchases under the agreement by various city departments in an amount not to exceed $200,000 in fiscal year 2025. Resolution number 2536, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of a Bobcat E60 R2 Series compact excavator for the Utilities Department from Doosan Bobcat North America, Inc., in the total amount of $81,728.81, and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Sourcewell contract governing that purchase. Resolution number 2537, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving agreements with Armstrong Fence Company and Mr. Fence of Florida, Inc., for the purchase of fencing supplies, installation, and repairs at set unit prices, and authorizing purchases by various city departments in an amount not to exceed $240,000 in fiscal year 2025. Resolution number 2538, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving a revision to Task Order 20-02 with Haggerty Consulting, Inc., for hazard mitigation grant program services, increasing the task order in an amount not to exceed $129,800. Resolution number 2539, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of one 12.5-ton HVAC unit from Daikin Applied Americas, Inc., in the amount of $36,640, and agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Region 4 Education Service Center contract governing that purchase. Resolution number 2541, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving an agreement with Cedar Chem LLC for the purchase of sodium aluminate for the Utilities Department at set unit prices, and authorizing purchases under that agreement for fiscal year 2025 up to the total amount of $500,000. Resolution number 2542, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving a settlement agreement between the City of Panama City Beach and Univeris, Inc. Resolution number 2543, a resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving City Council's 2025 regular meeting dates, scheduling special meetings for consideration of its regular business at 5 p.m. on Thursday, June 12th and July 10th, 2025, scheduling a special meeting for consideration of its regular business at 9 a.m. on Tuesday, August 12th, 2025, and providing an immediately effective date. And number 18, revision of the master audit list to remove obsolete items.
Okay. Got to get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember
Ms.
Coburn?
White?
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, next up, we are into the regular agenda. We added an agenda item to start with to discuss the water disruption on the east end. Mr. Schaefer, I know you addressed it a little bit earlier, but could you just come up and give us a brief
Before Mark comes up, can I just remind the audience or anyone at home that's watching this that try not to Monday morning quarterback Mr. Schaefer. All the decisions were made were mine. If anyone's upset, have them upset with me, not staff. I supported Mark and his team 100%. He kept me in the loop. I tried to keep out of his way and his team's way, but I supported him in every way. So any decision made is mine. So I prefer if anyone's going to judge anyone, they judge me, not my staff.
Thank you, Mr. Whip.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah. Show and tell with me today.
All right, well. You planning on doing a dance as well, or?
You don't want to see me dance. Work it.
Waited to the end of the year to do all your public speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hasn't improved,
All
has
right,
it?
the best way to get good at public speaking is practice, and you got some practice today.
You can do this in 3 minutes, right?
We can do it. I don't know if I can do it like Holly.
All right.
Still has her skills.
Yeah, just for the most recent water disruption, if you could just talk about what happened.
Yeah, I mean, as everyone pointed out, there was 2 separate events, one on Back Beach Road, one at the intersection of Laird and Laurie Avenue, very distant from each other. The one I'm going to speak to is the one that affected the most people and for the longest period of time, and that's the one on Laird and Laurie. For the audience, it's a PVC main in that area. Councilman Casto remembers it going in the 80s. This type of pipe is certified by the American Water Works Association, standard practice.
Mr. Schaefer, if you could speak in the microphone, because we
I'm sorry.
have a lot
Okay.
more people that watch these online.
Very good. Okay. This piece of pipe is a section from the failed section of main. That main split down the side, which is very unusual for a PVC pipe. Obviously, it was subjected to some kind of stress. This, like I said, is a section of water main. The ones you see out that we buy now are color-coded, blue for water, green for sewer, purple for reclaimed water. As you can see, this thing's about the diameter of a standard car tire. All the components that we use in our system have an AWWA approval, the American Water Works Association approval, and then they have a number on them associated with them, so that it does comply with the industry standards for the components that are in a municipal water supply.
Yeah.
That includes valves, fittings, et cetera.
Okay. Could you move on to the actual event?
Okay. We had a water leak called in, and it was on Thursday of last week, and it was reported as a minor leak initially. Staff went out there and found that they believed a tapping saddle on that 24-inch main, this 24-inch main, was leaking. They could see water coming out from underneath the saddle. So it was believed it was a fairly minor leak. We ordered a replacement saddle on that day, and it was scheduled for delivery on Wednesday of this week. The tapping saddles are not a normal item that we carry because it's typically associated with new connections to our system that are, and of that size, are typically done by a contractor with specialty equipment. We ordered the unit, and the planned repair was for the following Thursday, because there was bad weather coming in, and the replacement part would come on Wednesday. Well, on Monday night, the section of the line split. Instead of, now we knew we had a main failure rather than just a tapping saddle issue. And that started the whole chain of events. It was a major leak. We had to isolate a very large section of that 24-inch line. And as a result, we had a very significant area of low pressure and outage.
Okay.
I was out there, like I said, I got that call about 7:40 Monday night. And I was out there with the crews locating valves, getting this, the biggest thing is to get it isolated so you can get to it and then get all the water out of the main. As you can imagine, a 24-inch main has a tremendous volume of water. Even after you shut off the pressure to it, you have to drain out of the line. Once we had that done, it was roughly mid-morning the following morning, and we were able to put in a replacement section for the broken section, and we actually added a valve in that area too to, again, partition an area in the future that if we could isolate it and affect fewer users with the disruption. That was completed around 7:30 at night, so roughly 24 hours later. And you were out there with me, Mayor Teddemer. You saw most of this, Councilman Casto, you as well. We got finished up about 7:30 in the evening. We went to McKelvey our McKelvey pumping station to restart it and reestablish high-pressure service in the area, and there was a little bit of a delay getting a valve reopened, but it was back on roughly 8:30 that evening.
Yep.
Mayor, I have
Yeah.
a quick question.
Yes, sir,
Did
Mr.
you guys determine what caused the original break?
There were residents in the area that reported seeing a semi that was pulling a car carrier, doing a lot of turning movements in that area, and the call came in shortly after that vehicle left the area.
So it wasn't a utility contractor that damaged that pipe?
No, sir.
It was a heavy truck. That was
Right.
my understanding. That ran over the valve box and started the
Right.
whole deal. Okay.
And that main was very deep. It wasn't like it didn't have adequate cover over it. You
Right.
were out there, I would estimate it was probably in excess of 7 feet. It's kind of misleading because we pile the dirt up around the excavation so that you start thinking is the actual grade, but it's actually a little lower. But our standard cover over a main like this is 48 inches.
Okay. I want to, after this initial comment, I want to make sure public has a chance to comment, and then we can bring Mark back up and chat. Does anyone else here have questions for now? No? Okay. Is there any public comment on the East End water disruption? Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Schaefer, and your entire department. You worked diligently on this. I know it was discussed having a full report done. This happened Tuesday, so they finally got some sleep, but they haven't had time to report on this. I would love to see the full report into early next year, maybe the second meeting of January. Just an analysis of the timeline, going through why certain items may have taken a little bit longer than expected, like turning off the valves. I would also like to understand what our communication process was in terms of getting information out to the public. We had a little bit of gap in the communication there, it seemed like, from the school closures. We had mentioned something, and we were communicating on certain channels, but not necessarily other channels. There were some alert bays issued. So just a summary of what happened there. Then I would love for staff to think through why certain things happened and help us understand, and then bring back some recommendations for improvement.
Yeah, I think an after-action report, a debrief would be great. And kudos again to the Utilities Department and everyone involved. What a huge undertaking that they took part in. But yeah, I mean, once, if we can look at it and take a step back and see how we can improve and what actions we can take to mitigate, as much as possible in the future, these disruptions, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah, and the thing about these reports, I've done them in private industry, is they always expose the weaknesses because the strengths held. So, there are a lot of things that worked, and there are a few things that we need to think about. So, it always seems obvious in retrospect that, oh, of course that failed, because it's the thing that failed.
Sure.
But, just having the staff take the time, think through it, come back to us, and we can discuss it. I think that's the best way to go forward.
Put it in a SWOT format.
What's that?
Put it in a SWOT format.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think our biggest strength is our leadership, and I want to thank you guys for being out there and not sleeping and getting this done and getting it back hooked up. It's a valuable lesson. It's a paid lesson we got to learn from in the future, and how we can get better, and I know we will. I know you guys are committed to that. I know our city manager is very committed to that and never having that happen again, and what we can do to do some redundancy work. And I know we've already started that work, and really worked really hard with Mr. Davis and his team, and at the federal level to get some grants to start already the redundancy work on the beach. So I know that's a big thing that's come up in our community several times, but I want people to know that we are working towards that, and we have secured federal dollars and trying to make that happen. And that's thanks to our wonderful city attorney, city manager, and our grant writing team getting that done, and our federal lobbyist as well, Steve Sutherland. So we're really thankful to those guys. That is in the works. We're a growing municipality, and we're a huge utility business, and just want to thank you guys. I think the biggest strength is obviously the backbone of those team members that were in here earlier, and there's no question that their work ethic, and they're only as strong as their leaders. So I appreciate you, and thank you for all you do. Thank y'all very much.
Mayor, I also would like to thank Mark and his team. I was out there a couple times. Thank goodness this only happens every 4 or 5 years. We had 2 big ones within a week. That was real unusual. But I've been through several of these, Drew, Holly, been here long enough. They're all situational. Everyone's different. And you can't Monday morning quarterback decisions that these guys made, and they did a fantastic job out there. An awesome job, and went way above and beyond to get the water back on. And it's super dangerous work. A lot of people don't understand that you got, you know, power lines and gas lines and cave-ins and water table that you have to deal with. And then when you get the pipe cut, you have to drain a 24-inch pipe that may be miles long. So you got to have huge pumps. And the reason everybody says, well, just give us an update, you know. Well, you can't just give an update and tell people the water will be back on in 2 hours because something else happens. And it's that situational. Every one of them's different. So you just deal with it, and the guys dealt with it. Mark's team did a fantastic job. And you guys were the most important employees in the city for about 24 hours, because when you don't have water, you guys are, you know, everybody's important in the city. Our one of our first city manager used to say, you know, that the janitor that sometimes was the most important person, because when he was on vacation, I mean, everybody had a huge problem with the trash in the city. So everybody has a purpose, and you guys did a great job. I agree with doing a report, and one suggestion, and I was talking to Holly about, I think you already got that in your plan, is to look at the whole system and see where we can insert some more valves, so when this happens again, we won't have as big an area that's out of water. So I think you're already on top of that. But terrific job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to echo everyone else's sentiments here. We all take for granted when we turn on the tap, we're going to have water. And I will tell you, after touring our water department, I'm extremely impressed with everything that goes into ensuring that we get clean, quality water day in and day out. So just thank your team for all that they do.
Just to give an update on two things. I already spoke to Mr. Schaefer. He's going to do a presentation in our second meeting in January. He'll do a PowerPoint to show some of the work the men and women were doing down there. So that's already on the schedule. I didn't want to do it on January 9th because I want them to get some rest, and then I had a busy, long week. Holidays are coming up, so it'll be the second meeting in January, so they'll be prepared for that. As Councilman Register said, Cole and I have been to D.C. We've worked really hard with Congressman Dunn. He's already given us about $10 million for a water redundancy system. That was something Mr. Schaefer approached us about 3 years ago, how important that is. So that's what we went to Washington, D.C. and fought for. We plan on going back and asking for another $5 million. Hopefully we can work with our Florida lobbyist, Steve Sutherland, and Congressman Dunn to get that for our citizens and our visitors. But that was a priority Mr. Schaefer had 3 years ago, was the water redundancy system.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Whitman. Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. And your entire team did a great job. Really dedicated crew. And as you mentioned, we had wonderful community support, everyone who was out there, from the county to school board to the citizens who were there. We had really wonderful support. So thank you, everyone who was involved in this. It's a team effort. Okay. And Mr. Whitman, you got clear direction from us?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now on to the regular agenda, item number 1, ordinance 1656. Mr. Davis.
An ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 8 of the city's Code of Ordinances related to examining board member qualifications, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, codification, and providing for an effective date.
Can you help us understand this?
Yes, sir. So this comes at the request or the recommendation of Councilmember Coburn. Actually, if you will recall, we have had some trouble filling all of our spots on the examining board. And what this ordinance does two things. It lowers the experience requirements for the various specialties in that, and it also allows for recently retired contractors to also fill those spots. And then it also allows, if we cannot fill a spot with a contractor, we can fill a spot with a certified or licensed engineer architect. So expands the the overall net of people that can be qualified to serve.
And the reason for this is we're having trouble finding folks for the examining board that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any comment? I have one comment on this. So it says currently maintains an active or inactive license with the state of Florida, or who held such license within the last 5 years from date of appointment. We don't have anything for how long they've had the license on there, so we should have some experience level qualifications on there. Is given the current language, someone who just got an air conditioning license last year or yesterday could serve on this board. You know, maybe something like a 2 to 5 years experience. What does the council think?
I'm not opposed to that. I mean, now, I don't know how it is in some industries. I know, like in mine, to get a license, you have to already have so many years in the business and doing the work. So I don't know if that translates to, you know, I know it does in the electrical. I don't know if it does in HVAC or plumbing, but, so I mean, we can put something in there. I mean, I don't think it's, are you looking for experience doing the job or holding the license?
Doing the job.
Okay, then I have absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah.
Just in doing the job? I'm good with
Yeah.
that. Sure, why not?
No, yeah.
I think it's a great idea, and thank you, Councilmember Coburn. I think it's fantastic, because we have had a hard time filling this position, so.
And this is a very important role that they play in our community in helping residents.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, something like maintain 5 years of experience in the role.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
Or do 4. Mine's 4.
Or 3.
Okay, we have 5, we have 4, we have 3. Let's go with 4. We like splitting babies up here?
I mean,
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
4?
Whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay.
4 years, yeah, sure.
And that's not going to change the title, right?
No, sir.
Okay.
So it'll come to second reading next.
It'll come to
Correct,
second
yeah, you won't have to do
reading.
another.
We don't want to have to do another one.
Okay.
Perfect.
Can I get a motion for the amendment?
Motion to approve.
Mayor?
Sir, could you take public comment?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Oh.
Public comment on this item. All right.
No one, really? Oh,
What's that?
I thought we'd for sure have public comment on that.
Okay. Seeing no public comment, can I get a motion for the change?
Motion to approve as amended.
Second.
Okay. Ms. White?
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, next up, ordinance number 1657. Mr. Davis?
An ordinance of the City of Panama City Beach amending ordinance 1688, known as the 2021 amended and restated Panama City Beach Comprehensive Growth Development Plan, amending and updating population projections, amending and updating state requirements, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, scrivener's errors, liberal interpretation, modifications, codification, and providing that the ordinance shall take effect as provided by law.
Okay, Mr. Leonard, could you please help us understand what Mr. Davis just said?
Yes, sir, I'll try. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Excuse me. About every 5 to 7 years, the state of Florida requires all local governments to update their comprehensive plan and at a minimum to incorporate changes to state language, state law, also to expand the planning time frame in the plan for at least 10 years. We went out further than that. And then also at a minimum to update your population projections, because that ends up driving all of the rest of the plan, because depending on how much population is projected for an area, ends up impacting all your, your water, sewer, parks, roads, things such as that, which are all the elements of the comprehensive plan. And so this was, these were the updates that, that staff did. We took it to the planning board on November 13th, 2024, and they recommended approval of the changes 6-0.
Okay. Any questions from the council from Mr. Leonard? No. Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment?
Denise Hatcher. As I look to the west of us, I see our neighbors are growing and a lot of things are happening, really good things happening. I would like to see when you're looking at our growth plan and the development of our city, we take some really good deep breaths and use some good common sense and think about as older homes are deteriorating in the streets, as trailers are deteriorating in the streets, that we offer incentives for people to start building in our beautiful city and raising our tax revenue. We can't stay complacent forever and say everything is okay. I know I'm a progressive person. I like to be progressive. I like things to look good. I like for houses to be removed that should be removed, but I don't think we're looking at that as a council. Everything is just good enough, but it's not good enough. We really need to look at what can we do as people start to move in. They don't want to move into an old house or an old trailer. They want to move into something nice. And they will bring their money here, and they will spend their money here. People will rent, and your tax revenue will go up. One day, when you look at how much money you spend here, I mean, we can chop away sometimes at $1 million on this sheet of paper like it's nothing. But you got to realize when you don't have taxes coming into this city and being paid, your little supply is going to run shallow. It's going to run shallow. And then you're going to one day step up here like you don't even know what happened last night, and you're going to ask the people to have their taxes raised on their properties. And then they're going to go all up in the air like, oh, can't believe that happened. It's coming. I would like to see some really good common sense used and think about how our city can change its appearance, its growth, everything. When I looked at the Highway 79, that big 6-foot magnolia tree, I don't know if anybody else saw that magnolia tree. I have to just hand it to that man that did that. 6-foot magnolia tree, and how long is it going to take it to get on up there? And how many leaves is it going to blow all over the highway? And what did we do? We had enough sense to go out by the airport, and we put some beautiful palms, tropical things. Those men knew what they were doing. I just encourage, don't take it as a negativity as somebody who's trying to fight you on everything. There's people who love this city, which is me. I live here. This is my home. And when I ride by and I see such a faux pas, I call my friends and I say, what was that magnolia tree 6 foot tall doing up in the middle of that big arena of a roundabout? You know, couldn't we got a little tree a little taller? I mean, think about it.
Thank you, Ms. Hatcher.
Thank you.
Further comment, public comment? Okay. So I know that we're kind of on a timeline to pass this thing, but if you look at page 30 in the packets, the staff has taken the projected growth and then expanded the acreage for single-family, multifamily, tourist, just by the percentage growth. At some point, I'd like to look at how we weigh those differently. I'm sure the public would love to be involved in that, but for right now, this is fine with me.
Well, I'll bring it up now. I was going to wait till council comments, but I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for us to sit down with the planning board and have a workshop on the plan, or the comprehensive growth plan.
Well, I was going to wait till council comments, but I want to bring it up.
Yeah.
So first of all, I agree with that. I agree with the vice mayor. I think it's worth to do that. Honestly, I'd like to, about 4 years ago, a couple councils ago, did a strategic plan, and it's coming up to be expired. It goes through 2026. So we should have a workshop for the strategic plan that can feed into an updated LDC and comp plan as well. We can kind of bundle that all together. I'd also like to see us spin out a business plan from that with some measurable items. But, start with the update to the strategic plan. If you want to do it in conjunction with the LDC, that's fine.
I wouldn't do it in conjunction.
Okay.
Because I mean, if we do with LDC and the Comprehensive Growth Development Plan, that'd probably be something we'd want to do with the planning board.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I'd love to have a workshop early next year, talk about the strategic plan, and then we can use that to feed into the LDC. Does that make sense, Vice Mayor?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I think that makes good sense. I've noticed in this plan, it talked about a non-residential focus, that we need to be focusing on commercial instead of so much residential as well. And both of those things are mentioned in this plan. So I think that needs to be fleshed out a little bit more.
Okay. Yep. All right. So we'll look at how we schedule that workshop, stakeholders involved to have that discussion, and we'll get the, from that, we'll flow into a strategic plan. In terms of a business plan, from the strategic plan, it may make sense to look at a 2-year business plan. I know when this council did the strategic plan initially, it was a 1-year business plan. I think maybe from ease of staff's perspective, give them a 2-year horizon once we get the strategic plan done, looking at the business plan. Okay, so that said, any changes or anything to this resolution, or this ordinance?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. White, we may want to take a moment to wait. Why don't we have a 2-minute or 5-minute recess? He's coming back? Okay. Okay. So we agreed that Councilman Castro would do all the work and the rest of the city? We have a motion and a second to approve this update, and we talked about doing a strategic plan next year. Okay?
I'm good with that. Yes, sir.
All right.
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Tittemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Next up, Resolution 2540. Mr. Davis.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving updated user fees for city recreational facilities, repealing all policies or resolutions in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Okay, Ms. Joyner, come on down. Please help us understand this update.
Good morning. At the budget workshop, you guys asked me to review our user fees. I do want to just say off the bat, when I'm sure the public hears user fees, there's no entry fees to our parks. It has nothing to do with that. The only time you pay fees for recreation at our facilities is if you're participating in a program, renting a facility, or visiting the aquatic center. So, we did look at comparisons at many different facilities in the Panhandle and areas of Florida. Primarily, the increases we were looking at are things associated with facility rentals, so the Lindell Conference Center, tournament-related fees. The Aquatic Center, we were looking at lap swimming increase and daily rec admission, and also lane rental increase. That's basically kind of some housekeeping to keep up with PCST's contract. They had a progression in it already, and this will just solidify that we're bringing it to that
And that's Panama City Swim Team.
Yes,
Yeah.
sorry. No changes at the pier. I did want to say you also mentioned about having some free days at the pier, and we're going to do that December 22nd and 29th. And I just got confirmation that the county is going to mirror us for that.
Okay.
So both piers will be free. And then I'm also going to look for a, kind of an annual date, probably in the spring or early summer.
Okay, great. I also noticed that there was some new fees for off-site parking, but that
Yes.
is for events
Right.
that would, if you're running an event and we're providing parking, you're going to pay, the event will pay us.
Yes.
Or pay the city, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I know parking fees get a little heated sometimes.
Yes, it's only large events that are going to require that parking.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and so that's a way that frequently they're already charging for parking. That's a way for the city to participate in that profit share. Okay, well, I know you guys put a lot of work into this. Before I give public comment, is there a question from the council?
With the tournaments and charging and updating the fees, do you foresee that having us turn tournament business away that may have a greater economic impact for the city as a whole?
No, I don't. Honestly, the CVB supplements a lot of their fees. So the CVB is always in support of us, and these are pretty minimal increases, very comparable with other areas. So no, I definitely don't see
So we're
any.
comparable up and down
Yeah.
Northwest Florida and, okay, all right, perfect. I just don't want to lose a tournament because they can get a cheaper fee next door that may bring room nights to our destination and tax revenue, so.
Yeah, and I met with Chris O'Brien
Okay.
with the CVB, and he was aware of the changes and had no issues.
Great, thank you.
And you do keep minimal parking open as long as you can, and sometimes a lot of people think the park's closed when you have a big event, but like in the morning hours until the
Yeah, we
event
still
starts,
function.
park-
Yeah, we still function. The pool generally still even stays open past
Pool,
the
they
time
go
the event
to
has
dog
started.
park, or
Dog
they go
park, if they
walk,
come
or
in
go
and
play
that's
tennis,
their.
all
Yes, sir.
that. They can still do it even though you got a big event going on, but when the event happens late at night, it pretty much takes over the whole park. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I explained to the promoters when I do the special event permits that it still has to be open to our residents and our guests. So if they want to walk their dog or walk our trails, they're allowed to go in there and they don't have to pay for the parking.
Right. Thank you.
I have a question about the aquatic center fees.
Okay.
The lap swim, is that specifically for individuals that are swimming laps, or is that inclusive for the whole pool area?
It's lap swimming. So the rec fee, the $6, that's when we open up for the summer, and the splash pool is open, and most of those users are using the splash pool. So lap swimming, a lot of our frequent visitors are members, so they have, the membership, which gives them daily lap swimming use of the pool. But we have, visitors come in for Ironman and a variety of things, and those are just general exercise lap swimmers.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not penalizing our seniors that like to use swimming as their exercise.
No, the senior rate is, we're looking at $6, which is the basic entry fee, and it would be the same thing for rec swimming.
Thank you.
And the water exercise, we discussed, and the city manager definitely didn't want to penalize our seniors. We talked about going up on it as a very popular program, but we're maintaining the $5 rate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ms. Joyner. Is there any public comment on this item? Well, say use fees are the most efficient way the government can collect funding for the programs we all love. If you don't use it, you don't pay the fee.
Sure.
So this is one of the ways the city efficiently funds itself without increasing taxes on everyone.
I will say this, though, Mayor, Parks and Recreation, they don't make any money. These fees just offset the cost of it. They're more for quality of life. You don't make money off of Parks
Yep.
and Recreation.
Absolutely, great point, Councilman Castro. Okay.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. White?
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Next, we have agenda item 4. All right. Resolution 2544. Mr. Davis.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, authorizing a budget amendment to reappropriate expenditures in fiscal year 2025 for items originally included in the fiscal year 2024 budget.
Ms. Gibson. Help us understand this budget amendment.
Yes, sir. Good morning. This resolution that you have before you is for fiscal year 2025, and it is basically, it is to reappropriate the funds from 2024 that were budgeted in for 2025 for various expenditures and revenues. Because of the timing and completion of the projects or the equipment that was purchased not coming in, it's necessary to shift the funds or, shift the expenditures and revenues from 24 to 25.
Okay, so a lot of this is due to timing of projects.
Yes.
And payouts. Certain things like, for example, the McKelvey purchase from the county took a little bit longer than we expected. It was budgeted in 2024. We didn't spend that money. That money rolled forward. We're rolling it forward to 2025, so we have a true and accurate budget. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct. All the unspent allocations are earmarked for specific projects, And so, therefore, they need to be reserved for the project's completion in '25.
Okay, so it's a bookkeeping exercise. Yeah. You like bookkeeping, right?
Sorry?
She better. You're a big fan of bookkeeping, right? Okay, any questions from the council?
True.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Gibson.
Thank you.
Is there any
Motion to approve.
Oh, hold on.
Public comment.
Any public comment?
I just want to note a typographical error on one of your line items. The line item is for 001, TAC 4100, TAC 541.65, TAC 80, which is described as Mandy Land South. I believe it should be Mandy Lane South, which is the potential connector road going through the mitigated area from Frank Brown Park to Aaron Besant Park. I understand that there was going to be an 18-month study that started last September. I don't know if that study's been ongoing.
It's still ongoing.
It's still ongoing. I know there was an 18-month mark for that study, so I don't think we've quite hit the 18-month mark. I think that would be coming up this spring. But I just wanted to note the typographical error because I think nomenclature is very important. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Howe. Okay. We can address that error without, okay, let's get that error addressed. And we already had a motion. Oh, any further public comment? I don't see anyone. Okay. We already motion?
Second.
Okay. Ms. White?
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Next, we have Resolution 2545. Mr. Davis.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving a grant agreement with the Department of Financial Services for the purchase of a PPE extractor in the amount of $8,600 and authorizing a budget amendment to reflect the receipt and expenditure of these funds.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Chief Morgan, could you help us understand this item?
Mayor, Council, good morning. So the extractor is essentially a high-quality industrial washing machine that's designed to wash the turnout gear of our firefighters and remove the toxins out of that gear without damaging that gear, a very expensive piece of equipment, large industrial style washing machine. So we already have 2 of those machines that are in 2 of the stations. This grant allows us to purchase 1 more to put in our last station that we're building at Station 32.
Okay, and this is for just making sure there's a lot of toxins involved in this work. We need to have an
Yes, sir.
industrial cleanup.
So, you know, this supports our cancer initiative, which aligns with the State Fire Marshal. We found that firemen routinely get cancer because of the toxins left in the gear from not washing that gear properly and timely manner right after a fire. So, you know, our whole goal is to take care of the people that take care of this community, and this helps us do that.
Yep, and it's approving a grant agreement. So-
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Chief Morgan.
Yes, sir.
Any public comment on this item? I don't see any. Any comments from council? Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ms. White?
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Chief, I hope you didn't go far. Next up is Resolution 2546. Mr. Davis.
A resolution of the City of Panama City Beach, Florida, approving the purchase of 3 Skydio X10 drones from Safeware, Inc. in the amount of $78,951, agreeing to be bound by the terms and conditions of the Fairfax County, Virginia contract governing that purchase, and authorizing a budget amendment to acknowledge receipt of financial assistance from the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Drone Replacement Program, and to appropriate funds for the replacement of 3 drones.
Okay. Chief, thank you, Mr. Davis. Chief, good to see you again.
Yes, sir. So long. So a little history on what we're working with. So the fire department had 2 drones, and the police department had 1. They become, you know, as we grow in this community and our services grow, drones play a bigger role than they ever have before in command and control, overwatch,
search and rescue, missing persons, you name it. We routinely fly these drones to help protect our community. So the drones that we had purchased, Florida legislature decided that some particular drones that were made outside the U.S. posed a concern for public safety. So our drones fell into those categories and were since outlawed. So for about a year, there was a lot of concern. A new list was put out over the drones that were approved for purchase and use in public safety. Those drones were very expensive. A lot of communities could not afford those. And so thankfully, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement came up with a buyback program that allowed us to turn in the drones that we had, purchase them back from us, and allowed us to buy drones that you're looking at here today that are compliant, puts us in a legal manner with the state, and it gives us a better product to serve our community as well.
We sold those the old drones. There was a buyback program, as you
Correct.
mentioned.
Yeah, so, the city has done pretty well on that buyback program to make us be able to afford these drones. As you see, they're quite expensive. So the 3 drones that the fire department, police department had total, and we spent roughly $13,000 on those 3 drones together. We're getting back $75,000.
Okay. And these new drones cost about, what, $78,000?
They're about $25,000 a piece, a little over, yes, sir.
Yeah. So there's a little gap there, but.
Correct. About a $4,000 gap, just shy of it, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Questions? from the
We're
council?
operating with no drones right now as of right now.
That's
so
correct.
No drones, yeah. That's correct. I think it's a great thing. These have thermal capabilities? or
Yes,
like-
payload, thermal, and so much better product than what we were having before. So they'll be able to service in a much broader range of services.
Absolutely. Will you be able to cross-utilize these from both departments, or will certain ones be assigned to each? No.
So all 3 be identical. We'll use one in beach safety, we'll use one on the fire side, and one on law enforcement side.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Do we know the turn time?
The return
To
time?
get, the turn time to get the product in?
They're ready and available. As soon as it's approved, we'll make the purchase, we'll have them in service within a short time.
Excellent.
That's great.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any public comment on this item?
My name is Captain Gary Wayne Beck. I live at 2601 Beach Street. My concern with these drones is I've witnessed time and again how this government has grown to the point that they destroy the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution and Bill of Rights with the code enforcement, where they take pictures inside of people's windows, take pictures over privacy fences, and now y'all guys are going to be taking pictures of the people over from the sky. I mean, what else can I say? But, it's not like you guys haven't been proven to abuse your power. You say it's to serve the people, but if you really cared about the people, you would address the surf rescue and all the other issues. Instead, this right here is just a chance for y'all to take and further gather intelligence and use it against the people. You put cameras in trees to spy on people. You got, and you got this drone coming up now, and what are y'all going to do, huh? I would say it's, rescue and all that stuff. It sounds good, but how much have y'all already abused your power? Y'all really cared about the people. You'd have done something earlier about the stuff I've been talking about. Y'all don't do this. This is just a way for y'all to take and increase your ability to manipulate and control the people, right down to the individual. Everybody focuses on one individual to accomplish task at hand, whether it be take their property or whether it be extortion or whatever crimes y'all want to do or orchestrate. This is another tool that you're going to use against the people, Y'all can't say that you care about the people, because if you did, you'd address the surf rescue a long time ago. So, and all this stuff with the thermals and all that, y'all guys are just getting high tech, It's talking about high tech, what happened to the Facebook site? That was high tech back then. Now y'all don't even have that anymore, because you know why? I've got 3 phones, and guess what? I got Facebook. I got a couple things I ain't got, but that's how y'all guys was able to do it. Focusing on all this stuff. And this right here, like I say, I'm concerned about our Fourth Amendment rights. Because y'all already have no problems putting your cameras up over people's fences. You have no problems taking pictures inside of bedroom windows. You have no problems stealing people's stuff that you take the pictures of, And you think I'm kidding? That's what they used against me in court. they taking pictures inside my bedroom window and then, oh, yeah, cut their way onto my property. Now they don't have to worry about cutting their way, do they? They can use the code enforcement to take and fly their drone over, take pictures of the backyard or maybe in the front yard or what. Y'all guys, that's what bothers me. Every time we give y'all a little bit, y'all use it to destroy up against the people. That bothers me quite a bit, you know, because we the people are getting tired of it. I know I'm not the only one out there that turns against the fact of what y'all been doing with the children and turning a blind eye to all the criminal acts that I've been forced to endure, you know. But the reason I'm enduring it, because I remember all the men that gave their lives and their ultimate and is still suffering, you know. And I've heard the tears and I've heard the cries of the people that's had their houses taken by the illegal searches and seizures by the entities that you people have created with everybody else in this town. You know, am I lying? No, I'm not.
Thank you, Mr. Beck. Further public comment? Any discussion from the council?
Motion to approve. Can I clarify something quickly?
Yes, sir.
Florida law prohibits us from using drones for the purpose of code enforcement. So I just want to make clear that we don't do that and we can't do that, and we haven't done that.
And we don't operate in the county.
Yeah, and we don't operate in
Yeah,
the county.
also that.
That's true. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for that clarification, Mr. Davis.
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Ms. White?
Councilmember Coburn?
Yes.
Councilman Register?
Yes, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Jarman?
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Casto?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Teddemer?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Now we're on to the city manager report.
Just a few things, a few acknowledgements. First, I'd like to thank Holly for stepping up today and filling in for Miss Lynn. I think she did a great job. She used to be the city clerk about 10 years ago, so she fell right back into her normal place. But thank you for that, Ms. White. Once again, I'd like to thank Mark and his team as well as Public Works that went out there and helped with the water issues the last couple weeks. So I want to appreciate the team. And I also want to introduce John Adair. He's our new Public Works Director. If he can stand up. And he joined our team about 2 weeks ago. We stole him from the county. You can come up, John, if you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Hope he prepped you for that.
I told him I was going to introduce him.
It's public, you know, public work. Yeah.
Hi, how's it going? John Adair, live in the city, glad to be here, second weekend, so look forward to working with y'all.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Whitman. Mr. Davis, the city attorney report.
No report.
No report.
Good man.
All right. Next up, council comments. Mr. Casto, would you like to go first?
Yes, I'd like to thank the Public Works Department and the Utility Department. Once again, went above and beyond last week and did an outstanding job and really need to be recognized for that. And I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Register.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, first off. Thank you, Chief Tao, for the Christmas card. I thought it was really, really creative. I don't know if anybody else received that with the Grinch, but that was really good, so appreciate that, and thank you, and appreciate that coming from your team. But Merry Christmas to all our residents. I've heard a lot about this 6-foot magnolia tree, so I brought back like several comments or meetings ago. I made a comment about the Arts Committee trying to create something for that area, but I think we need to take that a step further after looking into the Arts Committee. It's not really an actionable committee, it doesn't look like. It looks like it's just a committee to sit down and discuss arts and what that is and what that looks like. So I'd like to propose to the city somehow, some way, I don't know, I haven't done a lot of research on this, but I heard this magnolia tree deal, to create an arts council, similar to like what our planning board, that has action items and brings things to the council. I think arts, people get confused and think it's just murals and different things or whatever. We have a great opportunity. I think Northwest Florida as a whole doesn't embrace the arts, so we have a great opportunity to bring arts to Panama City Beach and create a artistic culture here on the beach. But I think we need an arts council to be able to do that. I'm not exactly sure how to do that, but I'd like staff to maybe look into something like that, or we could potentially bring some film festivals and other things potentially here. Do some arts, and then also things that I don't understand. I'm a big guy that leans on technical experts. I don't understand all the arts. I was more of a sports guy growing up, but I understand and I see the value in a lot of the cities and municipalities that I travel to with my family. We enjoy the arts, and I want to try to establish that here in Panama City Beach, and I think an arts council could potentially do that for us. So I don't know if there's consensus on that or not, but something I'd like to see happen as we grow. And those people on the council, I'd like to be City of Panama City Beach residents as well.
And this would just be an advisory council, art council?
You know,
to the
Paul,
council.
I'm really not sure. I just heard about this magnolia tree again. This kind of triggered me to try to move, because it is kind of embarrassing. I wish we had a council that could move that forward. And you know, other cities do have budgets for their art council, and there's money to be able to promote and do things. I don't know where that money comes from yet. Like, I haven't dug into that. I haven't spoke with our city manager about that.
Just bring us some ideas, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Have staff look at that and how we can create that. I know other municipalities do it. I've done some research, but I'd like to do some more. But I know that's very tip of the iceberg, but don't know you guys' thoughts on that.
Great segue also into the strategic plan.
Yeah, and LDC as well. Yeah, they can play a major role in beautifying our city. One last thing, I'd like to see more pedestrian crosswalks up and down Front Beach Road. We talk about safety. I know the CRA is coming, and we're adding those things. I see a lot of jaywalking on Front Beach Road, and we talk about safety. We have Bahama Beach residents, tons of them here. I heard that in their meeting as well. Just safety, 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 safety. I can't imagine paint and a couple signs are very expensive at some of I know we have them at major thoroughfares, but some other areas where people, especially to serve these communities that are located right off the beach, to make sure that they can safely get across the street. I don't know what the DOT requirements are. Mr. Whitman, I have no idea, but that's something I'm interested in seeing, possibly potentially a proposal to make Front Beach easier to cross for our residents and visitors alike.
We're working on an RFP right now to put out for 9 crosswalks from Front Beach and 79 to the west.
Nice.
They're a little bit more expensive than that. They run about $10,000 a crosswalk by the time you put all the lighting out there and the striping, but that is something our Public Works is working on. And as we do the CRA, we'll add more crosswalks where the engineers think we need them for the pedestrians crosswalk.
Okay, is that something, I guess what I'm potentially asking is maybe do something, I mean, we have the CRA that's like 5 years out in certain segments and further out. Is there something, I don't know if there's an appetite to spend any money on those or, and expedite that and go ahead and have some there. I mean, I think the poles can be reused when the CRA comes around, and then I can't imagine the striping being exorbitantly expensive, but if we're doing those anyways, can we go ahead and maybe purchase the poles, speed that up, and go ahead and get them installed, and then we move them and save the poles during the CRA potentially?
Yeah, that's what Public Works is doing on the west end. That's something we'll use when we do come with the CRA on segment 5. We'll look at 4-3, because that'll be the next one that's about 3 years out, but that's something we can do with Public Works.
Great, that'd be great. Thank you.
And Mary, I think you had something to say about the Arts
Yeah,
Council?
I just wanted to follow up with his idea on an arts council. I was very disheartened to see that tree planted down there in the middle, because I envisioned something better. Although I guess we could turn it into a Christmas tree, I don't know. But
Charlie Brown's Christmas tree.
yeah, but I do think that we need to look at not just the Arts Council that we currently have, but our Parks and Rec Board. I think that we should strengthen the roles that they play as advisors to this council. Certainly Parks and Rec Board should have their finger on the pulse of what's going on in our parks, to be able to give us advice when it comes to skate parks and as we expand and do work in the parks. I would like to make them a much more active council or board. And when I first started, I floated the idea of an impact fee on developers that would go to the arts, and the developer could either use the money on their own property to enhance the architectural elements of their property, or they could just pay into a fund if they didn't want to do that, to help us expand and do arts here on the beach. So I would support you on that. And can I go ahead?
Well, I want to make sure Councilman Register
Yeah, I'm
is.
sorry, I used way too much time. I apologize.
No, it's the end of the year, get it all out. Let's make sure we have consensus on the evaluating options for Arts Council, looking at other successful arts councils, and having staff bring us back some suggestions for how one would be structured that can, be more active than a simple advisory role.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we got that. And in terms of the arts fee or the impact fee, we looking to feasibility of that?
Yes, sir, yeah, I've researched it before. I'm
Okay.
pretty familiar.
Okay, great. And then, talking about sidewalks, the crossings, Mr. Whitman indicated, we got an RFP out for going west. As the CRA comes to 100% plans, we know where we anticipate having these sidewalks. So on 41, 42, 43, maybe we could see if we can figure out a budget for getting at least the flashers and the striping up, knowing that we will have to restripe when the CRA comes down there. So,
But that we can reuse the is that the predominant portion of the cost? I mean, with those
The
signs?
solar panels and the flashing lights, that's the majority. The paint's not that bad.
Okay.
But it's everything else that goes with it.
okay, yeah, so looking to expedite that, everyone.
Could we use CRA funds ahead of the CRA going through those areas to pay for that?
I'd say yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Especially if stays in that district.
Yeah.
It provides something now, I mean, in the immediate future for our
Now-
residents, so I think it's something we can do.
Here's a question, do we have to have the road turned over to us to do it?
Most of the roads already turned over to us. The only section I'm waiting for is 4-2 and 4-3. But I could get permission or request permission from the state to put them up. They usually work pretty good with our Public Works Department.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that, a number of wonderful suggestions, but that one's particularly wonderful because one of the frustrations for the residents is not seeing benefit to the CRA, and we have a lot of residents that do use those crosswalks. They would really appreciate
Yeah, I
it.
definitely felt that in Bahama Beach, and
Yeah.
those people are passionate. I mean, some of them passionate enough to ask for my resignation today, but,
Is Bahama Beach north of Hutchison?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
they're
a
not-
lot of great people in that community. Let me tell you, I spent a lot of time with them in there, and it was good. I mean, most people are very, very amicable, but that was one thing, and I was like, you know what, we can really do something about that sooner rather than later to make it, because what I learned too, walking around a little bit in there, is that not all of them have golf carts, so some of them walk to the beach, and making that safer as well would be great. But then I just ride Front Beach Road, and people are consistently jaywalking. I think there's some statistics that the CRA's got in there about how close a crosswalk has to be as opposed to before somebody makes a decision to walk that way or that way to a crosswalk and safely cross, as opposed to jaywalking.
Yeah, kind of like the trash can rule.
Yeah, exactly, of course.
Clear direction on that?
Yes.
Okay. And then, Councilmember, sorry?
I think you're going back to.
And Councilmember Coburn's suggestion for the Parks Board, getting some options to make it a more robust advisory board. Is everyone good on
We
that
can
one?
look at that. I mean,
Because right now, I think it's just for advertising?
yeah, they're supposed to promote the park. That's the current function of the Parks and Rec Board, is to generate interest in the park and its amenities, so. Well, I mean.
Technically, they're supposed to try to foster public-private partnerships.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly limited scope of that board as written in your ordinance. That's, and the scope is where we would change things if you wanted to expand
Okay.
their horizons.
Okay, so looking at options to update that ordinance to give them a little bit more purview than establishing public-private partnerships. Okay, yeah, because those meetings are, I mean, they're great updates, but it'd be great if those folks had more to do.
We need to create action.
Have they ever, has the board created public-private partnerships?
No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, but does that speak to Councilmember Coburn's, to try to make it a more actionable board? I'm trying to understand what we're trying to accomplish here. I'd like to understand more where you're trying to go with this.
Well, for instance, with the skate park project, when we did the master plan for the park, they provided no input. I mean, they received information, but they didn't provide us with any input. And no one wants to sit on a board or a commission that does nothing.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's
So
why I want to change the Arts Committee. So that's why I'm trying to support you on this. I just want to understand it.
Exactly. So it's like the Arts Committee, they really, they review any art projects that come to the city.
Right.
They don't really go out and try to push for more mural projects.
And that's what, again, Arts Committee, we've got some tremendous people and people that are artists in our community. We need to take full advantage of their creativity. I'm the least creative person in the world sometimes when it comes to especially art, but we have some people in our community who's very talented people.
We have a lot of talented people.
And if I think on the Parks and Rec side, I'd love more feedback. I think I'm happy to support that. I don't know what it looks like or how to broaden the scope, but I'm happy to support it.
Okay, move it beyond a public-private partnership to advise on our Parks and Recreation, make suggestions, provide input.
Clear direction.
Okay, great. Councilmember Coburn?
Yes, I'd just like to kind of go back to November. I'd like to thank the police department for a very successful Cops and Kids at Aaron Besant Park. It was the best one that we've had so far. And I really liked the forensics team that you had out there too. That was a lot of fun. And just a segue on that, we got Christmas with the Cops coming up on Friday night. I look forward to seeing everyone out front. That's a very fun event, and I'm sure they'll have snow again this year for the kids. So come on out and join us from 5:30 to 7:30. And then, of course, at the Christmas parade on Saturday night, there's lots of fun, free family activities out there for everyone to participate with. And in closing, I'd like to wish everyone a very safe and happy holiday season.
Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the utilities crew again. I'd also like to thank everyone, all the residents in those affected areas that really were gracious and kind and understood how hard these utilities workers were devoting their hours to getting them back up and running and getting water restored to their homes and businesses. So, not just to the utilities, but also to those affected and how great they responded to it, the inconvenience. Just as far as anything else, want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, which begins on Christmas Day this year. So other than that, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I echo all the council's sentiments about the public support. I particularly want to call out Commissioner Peace, who was there for quite some time, brought sandwiches. She was very supportive. That's part of her district, and she was there. I mean, I think Mark may have had to stop her from getting into the hole and digging.
That's clear.
But really appreciate it, Commissioner, and of course, everyone in the community. We know there was a significant disruption. We already talked about the strategic plan, so I'm very excited to get the visions from the members of this council, the public, other stakeholders, get together and update that plan so that we can have a broader discussion. We've been having these smaller discussions that have all been driven by our priorities, but it'd be nice to have a broader discussion so we can all move forward together as a council in the new year. I'm really looking forward to that. Other than that, Merry Christmas. Stay safe, and we ask God's guidance to watch over us, and please bless Panama City Beach. See you in January.